I hope this is going to be a quick video. It's a follow-up to stories that I posted Tuesday where it had a poll in it. And the poll was talking about the shape or cut of rifle armor plates, right? So the question was, is this a shooter or SAPI cut? And was this a shooter or SAPI cut? Now, as you can see, right, for me, this is a shooter cut plate. You can tell by the more drastic angles here. It's a little thinner towards the top, and this behind it is going to be the SAPI, where it's got a little more coverage, but it's going to make getting a rifle into the shoulder pocket a little more difficult, and for some people it's going to make it a little harder to get two hands on the pistol as they press out. The reason that I brought this up is ran into a huge snag with a vendor and Safariland and their plates, and not understanding or not being on the same page as them in regards to what a shooter plate is, and then what it's described as. So my big warning for this of this video is learn from my mistakes. If you are ordering armor, especially from Safariland, get a sample in hand so you know exactly what you're getting. At the very least, get a picture, because again, based on the polls, like the results from the poll and everything I've known, this is what a shooter cut plate is going to look like, and this is what a SAPI plate is going to look like. So the issue came about is I ordered all new plates for the team and went through Safariland. I'm not sure if it's a sister company or a company that they own, but it's called Hardwire. And Hardwire, well, the local vendor sent me a list of Hardwire plates, and on those they have different sizes: 8 to 10, or 8 by 10, 9 by 11, or the common, 10 by 12. Then they also had various different plate shapes, right? So they had rectangles, which I'm not sure who's using those still. They had SAPI, and they had shooter. So it was easy for me. I said, hey, I want SAPIs for the back, and I want shooters for the front. Click buy now. Let's get this thing going. We need new plates. Months rolled by, new plates showed up, and unfortunately, they all look like this, right? So higher corners, no sharp angle, not a shooter cut. Reading on the back of the plate, usually there's a manufacturer sticker. It will list size of the plate, cut of the plate, what the plate stops, manufacturer date, warranty, serial number, all that kind of stuff. And these ones all said SAPI. So I'm like, well, they gave us too many SAPI plates. They must have forgot about the shooter cut plates. And check the invoice. Invoice clearly says shooter cut and SAPI. So I'm like, okay, they just messed up. Called the vendor. Vendor says, no, we didn't mess up. You're ill-informed. What you have is a shooter cut. I was like, well, it says SAPI on it, so how is it a shooter cut if it says SAPI? And further, like the sales sheet you gave me lists two item numbers, two very different item numbers, one for SAPI and one for shooter. So how are they're the same? Didn't have a good answer for that. He sent me to speak with the Safariland rep and their LE rep, and that conversation went about as well as it did with the vendor. Ultimately, they said that, the thing they hung their hat on was there's no industry standard on what makes up a shooter cut plate. And I said, I get that. People are going to make slight differences as far as dimensions, widths, and everything. But I was like, but the general shape should be the same. Because, again, my experience, this is what a shooter cut looks like. And before the phone call, like, I got on and I hit up Google. Hey, shooter cut. Difference between shooter cut and SAPI. And between forum posts and articles and YouTube videos, there's so much information out there. It's very clear that I would say anybody that is somewhat familiar with armor is going to quickly be able to tell you that this is a shooter and this is a SAPI cut. Unfortunately, Safariland, their representatives and their salespeople, didn't want to admit that. They continue to just say, hey, there's no industry standard. The plate you got is a shooter cut. even though it says SAPI on it. It's a shooter cut. So I couldn't convince him of that. So it's real frustrating. So now I'm kind of in negotiation, trying to figure out how I'm going to get my team the equipment they need without paying a crazy restocking fee for these plates, without waiting months and months and months on end again to get these plates from Safariland, who takes forever. So again, purpose of my channel is I want to push training. I want to push you understanding your equipment. So when I find issues like this, I like to bring it up. So if you are ordering gear, again, if you are ordering gear for yourself, for your team, get a picture of what you're buying, because you can be mistaken. On this point, this literally came back to bite me. I thought for sure I knew what a shooter cut was. Apparently this is what a shooter cut is. We're all wrong. If you can get something in hand, an actual sample, even better. Not always possible, but if you can, do that. It's important you have the good gear. Sometimes you have to kind of hit some roadblocks, hit some bumps in the road while you're doing it. This is the first issue I've ever had doing this with all the guns, armor, and equipment I've purchased for the department and the team. This is the first major issue. First time I've seen a vendor manufacturer be so far off from what is normal and expected and what seems to be the industry standard. So it was just pretty strange. If you have any questions or comments, if you have something to add, leave below in the comments or send me a DM. And as always, guys, be safe.